Today we're going to be taking a look at Valde's 30-11 performance against Astralis at Blast. What can we learn from this game? Let's find out. Starting things off on the pistol round in this mid-round 2v2, Valde throws a nice Molotov for the site that actually limits how Glaive can peek, which forces him to the right side where he's caught by Nico. And this is a great Molotov where you can throw it whenever you plan to retake the A site, since it prevents the T's from being able to hold Moto from this part of the site. Jumping into round 3, we're going to see Valde holding this position at the arch side. This is an off angle that's become very popular, as the idea behind it is it's meant to catch the T's off guard in that specific transition between pre-aiming the arches and library. Now as this round progresses, Astralis throw a long smoke, which Valde and Nico respond with a double HE stack to hopefully punish Astralis for taking brackets late in the round, and as well Valde and Nexa coordinate a boost over this long smoke to take a peek at mid. Something small to note, the person boosting does not need to crouch, he can actually stand. Due to the elevation difference, the person getting boosted will be able to make the jump since he's standing on higher ground, which eliminates the need for a second jump to reach the full height. Now after the smoke fades with about 40 seconds left, Valde decides to re-smoke the long choke point, and what this does is actually puts Astralis into a situation where if they want to go through long at this point in the round, it has to be through a smoke. Valde goes directly behind the smoke and capitalizes on conflict going through, but I want you to notice this next move he does. See on the radar that his teammate close by is leaving to B. Valde is going to use his teammate's footsteps to act like he's leaving the arch side, but in reality, he's going to tuck himself into the cubby, and Glaive ends up walking right into it, a complete free kill for Valde. Round 4, Valde has a good spawn here, so he's going to use it to peek second mid with flashes from Nico that land just over second mid, and these flashes that land over the building are highly effective at blinding T's who are running up towards the hay cart. And this is a play you can make whenever the T's aren't on a full buy, since they generally won't have that early Molotov towards boiler that makes it hard to survive. Now in round 6, once again, Valde re-smokes the long choke point with about 40 seconds left on the clock, and just slightly spamming the smoke in case there's a T who is trying to phase the original smoke that's now forced to push to the new one. Now as it's getting late in the round, there are signs that it will be a B hit, but notice that Valde is still very cautious about the idea of a T lurking up long as the hit is happening. This is good awareness since it's common for the T's to try to cut rotations at long, so he's just making sure that he doesn't get caught in some way. As he rotates over, he catches lucky as the smoke for Sichi's faded, but notice right here that with the low time, he doesn't get greedy with finding the last kill. He just hides behind the wall, eliminating every possibility of BlameF somehow killing him and having time to plant the bomb. Good discipline by Valde, and that's not something all players have. Here in round 7, Valde is going to do a Molotov smoke combo that gives a small little one-way on the right side. By smoking his own Molotov, he has the ability to dictate how the fight will go by removing the option for the T's to smoke the Molotov and potentially catching him off guard on the timing. At the start of round 8, Valde is going to use both the smoke and Molotov to counter the potential mid-take Astralis is throwing. Now if we look at the radar, the main reason behind this is to give this setup his teammates have in apps a chance to develop so that hopefully someone walks into it, which is exactly what happens. Once Astralis take brackets, Valde is not afraid to throw a little bit of spam with the silenced M4, as sometimes T's on the other end feel tempted to spam back. But with the silenced M4 with no traces, this is an advantageous spam fight, and by doing this, Valde finds not only config, but lucky as well. Round 9, Astralis throw the long smoke, and once again we see a boost with Valde and Nexa. This time it's on the right side, and with this boost, Valde can see if somebody comes up boiler towards short. But something to watch out for is if somebody crouches up close like what config does here to sneak up on the smoke. As with Valde being boosted up here, he cannot see this, but he's close enough to hear the flash to turn away and take down config. But notice in this moment, as the smoke is fading, Valde decides to fall and not engage with Glaive. This is because if he continued to peek the smoke as it was fading, Glaive would have an advantage by seeing him first, since Glaive is essentially inside the smoke and phasing it. Only after the smoke is completely faded, then Valde takes the fight, finding both Glaive and Lucky. Now in round 13, we find Valde at the headshot position in pit, late in the round as Astralis are wrapping A from long. Notice though that Valde is taking a slight off angle, and this off angle is meant to catch T's who come past the moto position to clear the site. So by avoiding initial contact, Valde can strike when they're focused on clearing the site, resulting in kills from a spot that they didn't think was a danger. Now switching on to the T side, on the first pistol, we'll see OG grouping up to hit B, and as Valde peeks, he spots Zipix jiggle peeking the angle. Not only that, but Valde also recognizes that it doesn't appear that Zipix knows that he crossed, since he continues to jiggle. With Valde knowing that Zipix didn't see him cross, he pats towards the right wall to potentially catch somebody off guard in the site. As the hit comes in, Valde surprises Zipix up close, then pats towards the pool, clearing the site as the utility comes in, and is close enough to his teammate Flames to trade BlameF quickly. Round 17, after losing pistol, OG go for a force and Valde has the only AK in his hands. Valde goes straight up middle, and as he peeks towards short, he sees Lucky throw a smoke mid and also fall back. With the smoke being thrown so early in the round at about 140, Valde reads that this is very likely a 3B setup, and the early smoke mid was done to deter any fast pushes towards mid. So he decides to push through the long smoke to try to catch the rotation back to A. Valde goes into arch just in case the CTs decides to peek along from Moto and catches Glaive completely off guard coming back. Now as his teammates are coming up short, he goes for another fight towards pit, but dies to config. This information on config's position though helps the rest of OG trade down to 2v2, which was originally a second round force. After converting the last round, we'll see Valde throw this Molotov towards Abs, expecting that Astralis are low on money and may potentially have an aggressive setup hauls. The power of this Molotov is that it'll still be up by the time you get to the top of stairs, so there's no timing gap that the CTs could exploit. Now round 22, we'll see Valde go fast towards halls while the rest of the team groups up towards mid. Rather than wait this Molotov out, Valde will flash towards the left and run through the last ticks of the Molotov to get a potentially forward timing on the CTs. As his teammates are working up towards long, because of how far up Valde is, he actually catches Lucky in the back as he's rotating to Moto, but also just before this kill, he heard Config fall down from the balcony, so he also knows that Config is in pit. He puts a little bit of pressure but throws a flash into pit to gain space, which ultimately draws him out to the right and out in the open. Round 23, Valde takes a much slower approach here, but one detail is important. He does not hear the early Molotov or smoke at halls, and he also has a person spamming halls that doesn't really result in any type of reaction if somebody was actually pushed up who would get hit by it. So using this information, Valde makes an educated guess that nobody's holding halls, and it's possible that the CTs are doing a double short setup, which is common if the CTs forget to smoke or molly apps to mask the setup. He takes space towards halls, and by the time he gets to the entrance of halls with no smoke even at the 110 mark, Valde gambles that this has to be the setup at A and gets rewarded by getting 2 kills only checking the left. Now at match point, Valde hears the Molotov go off in halls, and this time he throws almost all his utility to fake that he's aggressing halls quickly when he's really not. So he throws the smoke as well as the Molotov and a flash as an attempt to mind game the CG, since in the previous round he walked all the way out without using any utility. Much later on in the round, with about 20 seconds left, Valde will be in abs getting ready to support his teammates coming up short with the flash. And this flash is a great flash to blind anybody playing the site, affording his teammates space to get into the site and capitalize on any blind players. Now after the site gets cleared, Valde drops down and eventually sets up in this off angle towards short for the post plant. And the idea behind this is to catch CGs off guard who might be pre-aiming or preparing to deal with a common pit angle and retake situations. Because of that, Valde gets 2 kills here as the Astralis were attempting a jump and peek to deal with the pit angle. That's gonna be it. If you liked this video, please give it a like, and if you want to see more content like this in the future, feel free to subscribe, and comment down below what you might want to see in the future. Thank you so much, see you guys next time.